Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk about Paytm Bank and realize that if you are a startup in India and you are dealing with the regulators, especially RBI, life is not going to be very simple. They keep asking you to do things which are very difficult. For example, they asked Uday Kotak to reduce his check, which to me did not make sense. I mean, does not make sense. I mean, most of the actions of most of the regulators to me does not make sense. Saying you're running a very good bank, congratulations Mr. Kotak, now please reduce your stake, because if you don't reduce your stake, there is a chance that there will be concentration of power in your hand, or you will lend to wrong people and you will lose money of the depositors. This is the logic. My logic is, well, if I am the owner of the bank and I own 40%, I would be far more responsible than if I were holding 5% of the bank. Anyway, that's for another day, because Rana Kapoor holding a big percentage still did a very bad job of running his bank, but Uday Kotak has run Kotak Bank very well. Mr. Deepak Parekh was not an owner, so he did not have that problem, but he also ran HDFC Limited very well without being an owner, right? So there was no question of stake sale or things like that. Now, typically, RBI was warning Paytm payment bank, or as it is called, saying that you cannot accept deposits about 2 lakhs per head or things like that. I knew there were some problems, but typical RBI speak, or rather regulatory speak, is there were continued material supervisory concerns which have warranted further supervisory action. I have no clue how one reads this and how one interprets this. I don't know what Paytm did wrong, but we know that Paytm has been told that they cannot do many of the operations which they were doing. And 29th February, this is a leap year, remember, they have been told that they have to wind up many of their actions, right? So typically Paytm, let me first put the caveat here. I have no interest in Paytm. I don't own a single share. I did not buy the shares when it fell. I may not buy the shares today, but I'm not very sure about that. Paytm was a very good concept, but then when UPI came, I seriously did not know why one would need a Paytm, because Bheem Pay or UPI was doing a good job. So why would I pay somebody for the services? So I didn't know. Of course, through Paytm, maybe I could invest in mutual funds, I could take insurance policies, etc. So there they could make some money as an aggregator, but would they be paid as an aggregator? Because SEBI had also said that mutual funds can be bought direct. So if I went to Paytm, and could I buy direct? Could I be or was Paytm an agent for mutual funds, or MFD for mutual funds? Were they recommending? All these are gray areas for any fintech, right? So if you are a fintech, are you selling only direct? If you are selling only direct, do you have a option of using an advisor? Then do you become an MFD, or are you an RIA? Are you qualified to sell mutual funds? Are you qualified to sell life insurance? I have no clue on many of those aspects. So there was always a chance that on fintech, the other regulator, that is SEBI, could also come down and say you can't do this and you can do this. We don't know, but that's a little further away. But RBI has now told Paytm that you cannot lend money. That was fairly obvious, because I believe about 2-3 months ago they stopped giving credit. Now, credit in the sense that they were acting like a credit card. They were allowing you to aggregate payments. So if I made my petrol bill payments, if I made my electricity bills, etc., maybe I was given a limit of 30,000 rupees. So on that 30,000 rupees, I was allowed to accumulate and make the payment at the end of the month. No interest was being charged, or perhaps an interest would have been charged if I had delayed the payment, typically working like a credit card. So that was happening. That was stopped. I know that was stopped, but you could still buy mutual funds, you could still make UPI payments, etc. Now we do not know what all have been stopped, but first of all, let me tell you that your money is not lost. If your money is lying in the in Paytm, it's not lost. You will be able to withdraw it. You may not be able to make a UPI payment, but you will be able to withdraw it and transfer it back to your bank account. So what has the regulator done? The regulator has told us that this is a risk of doing business, and if you don't listen to us, we will make sure that we suspend your operations, and you will not be able to do any transactions. Now, this is like hitting a death blow to somebody like Paytm, but I'm sure they will find some way to evolve. On Thursday, when you see the market prices, that is today, when you see the market prices, yes, there will be an impact. Will there be a great impact? I'm not sure, but there will be an impact. Now, whenever you go and make a payment at any local place with your UPI, it says आपका पैसा पेटीएम में प्राप्त हुआ. This was started by Paytm. They went to every place and they put that audio receipt, which means the guy, while making pan or making chai or anybody, did not have to even lift his head, because his audio thing said, oh, 60 rupees has been collected or 80 rupees has been collected. What part of that will be impacted, I have no clue, but they seem to be saying that you cannot make UPI payment out of your out of the Paytm account. I'm not very sure about that portion, but yes, lending can't happen, so they can't lend you money. They can't, you cannot borrow money from them. They can, but you can still buy your mutual funds, etc., out of the money that you have. Going forward, what will happen is not very clear, but you have to understand that when one regulator gives permission to issue the shares at 2,500 rupees or 2,000 rupees, you are giving an exit to the existing lenders to it. Lenders means shareholders, right? Shareholders who want an exit is what they got. It was not an IPO. It was an OFS. It was terribly overpriced in retrospect. I did not comment on that day whether it was overpriced. I did not participate either. I thought I would not participate in Paytm at that price. Would I be a buyer today? I don't know. I'm not very sure what is allowed and what is not going to be allowed. You can't lend, that is very clear, but there are many others who are lending. So all the fintechs who are lending or aggregating, etc., could have an issue. For example, Ola allows me to aggregate all the payments for the month and pay one consolidated bill at the end of the month. Why can't Paytm allow that? Why can't Ola allow that? If Ola can allow that, why can't Zomato or Swiggy allow that? I have no clue. Will Zomato tomorrow allow me a 25,000 rupee limit and say pay at the end of the month? Perfectly all right. Will they need an NBFC license? I think so, because you are again aggregating. Now, will they allow me to pay that by an EMI? Then it becomes lending. Otherwise, it is just aggregating. What will be allowed, what will not be allowed is very difficult for us to say as small time players and small time shareholders. Let me clarify, I have no shares of Paytm. I am not a fan of Paytm because I thought Paytm's raison d'etre was lost when UPI was launched. But Paytm was a success. The way how they created the audio receipt was brilliant. After that, PhonePe and all copied what Paytm had done, but it was just Paytm who had pioneered it. I do not know whether Google Pay and all have audio record of saying the payment has been made. I'm sure they can build it in. It doesn't take much time. But if you are shareholders of Paytm, what should you do? I don't know. I would take some of the profits, at least. If I'm sitting on profits, if I'm sitting on losses, maybe I will exit and re-enter up at a later stage. Right now, I have no shares. I don't need to take a view. I have to just make a video. So take your pick. But yes, understand regulatory risk. And this is one regulator. The other regulator could have also said, look, these are the risks, so we will not give you permission to be listed. That did not happen. So one regulator giving you permission does not mean the other regulator will not take action. Thank you.